Welcome to another beer, rum, and rock rock shot. This time, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Allied Forces, the fifth studio album by Canadian hard rock trio Triumph. It was released on RCA Records on September 19th, 1981. The singles off the album were the title track, Magic Power, and Fight the Good Fight, propelling it to number 23 on the Billboard Pop Albums chart. The classic Triumph lineup consisted of Rick Emmett, guitars and lead vocals, Gil Moore, drums and lead vocals, and Mike Levine on bass and keyboards. It was recorded at Gilmore's studio, Metalworks, and was produced by the band with help from engineers Mike Jones and Ed Stone. Okay, man, Ted and I are ready to talk about Triumph. For you?
Hey, Ted, buddy. How you doing, man?
You want to hear from Ted? Here we
yeah,
go.
buddy. Let's hear it.
Fuck you, Thunder. You can suck my dick. You can't get me, Thunder, because you're just God's farts.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hey, Ted's a poet.
Well said. Well said, Ted.
As you can see, I got my Allied Forces t-shirt on. I got my beer. I'm fucking ready, dude.
That's a great album cover.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it is just
Yeah.
visually epic.
What impact did Triumph have on you, man? Like, were you in right away? Did they make a impression on you? What's the story with you and Triumph, if anything?
That record on your shirt. That was
it, eh?
But it wasn't in 81. It was
Right.
years later. Again, late to the party, but it held up so well. And this is a Canadian band that, I mean, a three-piece Rush, you know, you get these connections, and they sounded nothing like Rush. They have two singers, you know, that both sing equally great. I probably heard Allied Forces first. I think that was the very first. I might have heard Lay It on the Line or something, you know, somewhere down the road. But I think when I knew it was Triumph and it was this record, it was probably Allied Forces with the intro. My ears just perked right up and totally blown away. You know, and as a guitar player, understanding who Rick Emmett was new to me too, because I, again, had no idea. But then started to hear things and read things, and it was, yeah, but that's where I came in. I went back, but I really started there and kind of stayed there for the most part.
Yeah, you weren't alone, man, and that's clearly why we're talking about it, really. I mean, it had a huge impact for sure. Yeah, I know you like to point out that I'm, 3 years older than you or whatever the hell it is, but it does make a big difference. And I had cousins who were really into music, right? So that's where I first saw a Triumph album and heard it. We're talking 1978 is when I first saw this album at my cousin's place.
Oh yeah.
The Rock and Roll Machine.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing Rocky Mountain Way, the Joe Walsh cover. I mean, I didn't know it was a cover, obviously. I'm a kid. But I remember thinking, hey, that sounds cool. But I was in full on fucking Kiss mode. So I didn't really pay that much attention, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at that picture. I mean, it's just awesome, right? So that was my first experience with Triumph that I can remember. And of course, I end up getting the album about a year later. I got it. And this is it, right? And that title track, Rock and Roll Machine, with that iconic solo in it, which reminds me of kind of what Jimmy did with Heartbreaker, right? You know, halfway through, he just starts fucking shredding, right? And it's just killer. And like, to your point, you had two vocalists, both sound cool, just like you said, but two completely different feels, right?
Yeah.
Like completely
Totally
different, but both awesome. So that's great.
And they work well together, which, you know, they do, right?
Absolutely, dude. And to your point as well, not only were the songs good, sure, but it was Rick Emmett's guitar playing that really hits you over the head. I mean, you're just like, this guy is special, right? And he's amazing, and he's overlooked, if you ask me.
I remember reading an article. I can't remember if it was in Circus or Hit Parade or somebody was saying something about Rick Emmett, about he's the fastest guy on the planet. That's what they said
Wow.
about him. This Canadian kid from Mississauga
Right.
is shredding past everybody, you know, in the early 80s.
Yeah.
What's not to
awesome.
like about that?
Absolutely, dude. I mean, I was fucking in hard. Hey, then comes this bad boy, Just a Game.
Right.
So I start buying shit, right? So I'm all over the place. This is 79 now. So this has got Lay It on the Line, American Girls, great, right? And then I'm going backwards. This is how I roll when I get into a band. You got the debut in the beginning, 1976, this comes out. So this is your Blinding Light show, big epic, 24 hours a day. Look at this cover though. How Spinal Tap is that? Fucking lightning cracking a rock in half.
Yeah. What can I do with this band that says rock? Let's see. Lightning and a crash in a rock. Perfect.
Exactly. Oh man. And the precursor to Allied is this one, Progressions of Power.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. It's a bit underrated if you ask me, but I Live for the Weekend and Tear the Roof Off. I mean, I was invested in this band and I loved everything they put out. So this is 1980. So I'm moving ahead, right? It's awesome. It's fantastic, dude.
When they hit me, there was so much other stuff as well by
Sure.
that time. By the time I got into them, that, yeah, it's not so easy to go back because there's just so much other new stuff that is kicking ass, you know, at the time.
1981 rolls around. I'm in grade 10. That's where I'm at. And they release Allied Forces. So I was chomping at the bit for more. And there you go. There's my original vinyl and the CD. I mean, come on. And this for me is their musical peak. It's not their popularity peak, but musically, this was the peak. It was just a little bit downhill after this. Because then you get into Never Surrender, which is a good album. I like that one. That comes out in 82. You know, World of Fantasy, title track, When the Lights Go Down. Solid, but just a bit of a dip, but pretty solid. And that's where you get this. So on that tour, they show up at the S Festival in 83. And this is a kick-ass set. It's a shorter set because it's a festival, but this is awesome.
Oh, I've seen it. And they start with Allied Forces, which is just killer. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
like
Dude.
they know where to start.
And they were one of two bands that got the rights to their footage, so they could do that. Priest was the other one. They're the only bands on that metal day that have released their set as a pro shot release, right?
Yeah, and there's some wonderful footage there, you know, just the size of the venue. The US Festival was a big fucking deal.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it was heavy. And they were playing like daytime, you know, people are partying hard at that point. You know what I mean? They're not, so that's a good time to play, you know, I think.
They were above Priest, so that's pretty sweet, and one below the Scorpions, just before Scorpions came out and it was dark. They were right under that, right?
I get
so
you.
good for them. I mean, that's a sweet spot.
It really was. You know, you still got babes in bikinis, and you know it's great.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Now we have the dip. I mean, I'm still invested. I'm buying all their stuff, so there's that. But in '84, they released Thunder 7. You know, you got Spellbound and Follow Your Heart. Now you got more keys, poppier stuff. It's the 80s, man. And I liked it on a certain level, but in hindsight, it doesn't really hold up for me, right?
But you know, you mentioned Follow Your Heart, and
yeah,
it's an earworm. How high he sings in that. And is that the one with Midsummer's Night's Dream on it? Yeah, because that's
yes,
awesome.
That's the reason to buy it. Yeah.
Yes. Right on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that instrumental's awesome. And then in 86, you got Sport of Kings, and I was just hanging on by my fingernails by then, right? Because this is where you get covers, you get outside songwriters, which is the death nail every time. It's full on hair metal time. Like Rick's got the poofy hair. You got Tears in the Rain. Somebody's out there. Just One Night. This sappy shit, right? It's too slick. It's too poppy. It's cheesy. It's awful. I'm out.
It was a sign of the times, though, man, and you cannot hold them completely accountable.
You're absolutely right. It's a sign of the times. I get it, but they lost their rock edge, and I couldn't take it anymore.
I left a lot of bands at that time. Yeah.
Yes, it was tough. Oh man. Okay, and just to wrap it up, they released two more pretty forgettable albums. Surveillance in '87, that was Rick's last album with the band. And then Edge of Excess comes out in '92. So, I mean, that's not happening in '92. But they got Phil X on board on guitar, replaces Rick. Gil's doing all the singing. And that was the end of the band. One thing we haven't touched on is them live. So going back to '81, that's when I started going to shows. You know, my first show was Fair Warning. Everybody's heard me talk about it a million times. And '81, that's when I saw Triumph at Max Bell Arena, November 27th in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Yeah. And they were always great. Wicked light show, tons of pyro. At that time, I'd never seen like Van Halen had no pyro. I'd never seen a band light it up like that. Like fucking boom, 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 like Kiss level shit. It was huge. And the only other thing I want to mention about that is being a three-piece. And Mike Levine's a bass player and he's great, but he's not Steve Harris in terms of working the stage. So it's all Rick Emmett. This guy's doing all the heavy lifting.
Dude, he's running from side to side, still playing all the fucking notes, because when you got just a three-piece, you're on display. Like, there's only three guys making noise up there now. You can't hide behind shit. And he'll still run and do his crazy shred man fastest up and down the neck while doing that. It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy.
And in the 80s, you can't just stand there, man. You got to be going, like you said, right?
Yeah.
You got to be entertaining. And he was just fucking awesome to watch on stage. Awesome. Okay, man. Well, let's go through this album. So it's 9 tracks, 2 instrumentals. So it's only really 7 songs. So it's clocking in at 39 minutes. By today's standards, it's really short, but you know me, it's fucking perfect. I love that. In and out and fucking rocking, right?
But that's good when you got, they're putting out a record a year, but when they're doing 30-minute albums every 4 years, it's probably not enough, but
that's anyway. A good point.
Right.
When you're Metallica cranking one out a decade, you might want more than 30 minutes. That's true.
Right.
Songwriting wise, all songs are credited to all 3 guys, which is highly unusual, but it stops the arguing. And we've talked about that before. And what you get to is, even though, yes, they're divided equally, there's Gilmour songs and there's Rick Emmett songs, and it's obvious who's doing what. They're very different in tone, but I like them both. But there's 2 styles going on.
Yeah. Let's go into the first one, which is a Gilmour tune. He's singing. Catchy as fuck, this song. At the time when I first heard this song, it suited me just like a glove, right? Like, what's the line? Fuck, I got it here. I want you to hear what I say. That leads into the chorus. Is just the melody and the framing of that was just so catchy, This song is top 5 Triumph tunes for me.
Wow. I guess we should say the name of it. It's called Fool for Your Love. Wow. You like it that much? Interesting. Cool.
And I like his vocals. I love this little slide bit into this one. And like I said, yeah, the great playing. And of course, Rick is shredding all over this. Gil's singing great. It's a Triumph tune. It really is. And a great opener for this record. Totally great.
Yeah, I like it. Not as much as you do, clearly. I like it, but it's nowhere near my favorite track on this album. I'll say that.
No, not mine either, but it's a top 5er for me for them.
Let's move on to number 2, Magic Power. So this is more of a Rick Emmett leaning track, obviously. Tailor-made for the radio. It was all over the radio, and it was one of their biggest hits. First time you hear it, you're like, yeah, this is going to be a hit. Like, it's just well written. It's got that cool 12 string off the top. And what's cool about Rick too, he's one of the first guys I saw play a double necker. So he had the 12er up top. And then when this song kicks in, he drops to the 6 string on the bottom, right? And at that time, at Alex Lifeson playing a double neck and Jimmy, of course, but it was a short list. So it was cool to see that.
But you know, this guy was heavily influenced by Page, like most guys at his age at that time. 100% he was, and this track screams that. Now you got Rick on vocals, right?
Yes.
Which is a kind of a different vibe already.
Very, very different vocal style. Yeah.
Right? But he is a force, man. But I never tire of this song. Even though, it was radio, I still enjoy listening to it. I don't turn it off because it was heavily rotated, like you said at that time, because it's so interesting. The song is all over the place. It builds in tempo all over the place. It has moving parts, very well crafted. It's never going to stop, Randy. Quote a line from the lyrics. It's never going to stop.
Yes.
The solo's fucking amazing. And music does the talking, says the things you want to hear, Randy. And this one does that. Yes.
I don't tire of it either. And I'm surprised by that, in that it's a bit cheesy, just a little bit lyrically and stuff, but I still like it. It's just so well crafted, like you said. That's a good word. It's interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong. There's no, okay, everything stops and I'm going to do my guitar solo. He just kind of weaves in and out. There's no standalone solo. He's just going through it, man. And it's just so fucking cool.
He's shredding throughout. Like there's moments of his guitar glory all over this track.
And the vocal, he's so high. Like his voice was crazy high. Like,
I'll get into that later.
Okay, yeah, he gets higher.
He gets higher.
Fair enough.
Right? Yeah.
It's just great songwriting. It's a great song, and there's a reason why it was a fucking hit. Okay, let's combine these next two because they are related. So you got track 3 and 4. 3 is Air Raid. It's a keyboard piece written by Mike Levine that leads into the title track, Allied Forces. And when it leads in, what I love about this song, the whole thing, it's about building. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It just builds like a fucking generator. It goes down, builds up, goes down, and Gilmore kills it on vocals. It's another one of his songs. Yeah, I love the breakdown going into the solo. You know what I'm talking about. And fucking Rick again, shreds his fucking ass off. Are you in agreement? I'm sure you are.
What an intro. And, back to the US Festival, because they kick off their set with this track. Now, not many rock drummers sing like rock drummers, like, yes, of course, Levon and Hanley and Phil Collins, whatever, but
right. We're talking rock here, damn it.
Yeah, we're talking rock here. But here he is at the US Festival coming out of the gate with this one. It's a commitment to sing this song. It's fast. And he's working a mic and then getting it out of the way so he could play his fucking drums and then bringing the mic back. So he has got absolute magic when it comes to being able to perform this. And that says a lot about his talent. It's a great track. And it really does celebrate the talents of this band because there's some heavy interplay with the guitar and the bass on this track that's heavy, and it's one of their heavier tracks for sure. It's a gooder, and it goes so well with that shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fucking awesome. This should have been the opening track. Hands fucking down. It should have started with that keyboard thing, and it should have been Allied Forces. That opening track, Fool for Your Love, should have been way down in the fucking track list. That should not have started with that song.
I said it's a great opening track. This would have been better. I don't know why it's pigeonholed in the middle, but it is what it is. I don't know what they were thinking there, but when you listen to the intro of Fool for Your Love, it sounds like an opening track to me. It does. So you got that going.
I'm just saying, if I was producing it, This would have been the fucking front. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's move on, man. We love that one. For number 5, Hot Time in the City Tonight. What do you think of that one, dude?
It's kind of a rockin' little tune, you know, kind of based on old school rock and roll, you know, a lot of it. It's a Rick Emmett led tune. This is where he hits some high notes as well, which were striking.
Would that be a falsetto, Beau? Would that be a falsetto?
Definitely. And a great solo. I mean, it's not my shtick, you know. I've heard a lot of up-tempo nods to classic rock of old, you know, at high tempo, but it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, I dig it. I think it's just fun. It's Chuck Berry on steroids, right? And it's a catchy riff. And what's funny is live, so Rick singing, like you said, live, they do the cheesy but effective, we'll have a hot time in Calgary tonight.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, sure.
They substitute city for the
Sure.
name of the city, right?
Sure.
Because it's the final encore song on that tour. It's the last song of the night. Just go out, all guns fucking blazing. And a great way to close side 1, I thought. Like, it's fun. Okay, man. Number 6. This, to me, is Rick Emmett's best song, period, in the whole fucking catalog. And that's saying something because he's got a lot of good ones. It's fucking epic. I love it. Start to fucking finish. I love this song.
I hate to agree with you, Randy.
I know you do. This is definitely top. This would be top 3. That tasty keyboard comes in from Mike. And then that rhythm guitar comes in. And what I like too, there's a lot of cool parts to this song. The verse is very mellow and chill. And then the chorus just fucking explodes, right? He fucking drags it down the neck and it's on, man. And it's just fucking killer.
First off, the track name, Fight the Good Fight, already killer. The opening vibe of the track with its calmness really sets up the switch to the energy of this track, but it's just awesome. And you already mentioned it, but that chorus is, yeah. And I love the acoustic. I mean, he plays all kinds of stringed instruments, and he doesn't shy away from any of it. And so if it works in a tune, I mean, fucking more power to it, right? But this had a great place for that. The solo's wicked, the songwriting, the structure of it, so interesting, wonderful to listen to. And gives the 3-piece lots of room. It's check, check, check. Wicked fucking tune.
It's just him doing what he does at a high level. It's my favorite song on the album, period. Okay, dude. Number 7, Ordinary Man. This is the epic on the album. They're known for this. I mean, Rock and Roll Machine's got The City, which is phenomenal. It's got Rick doing that flamenco shit and all that. And you got Blinding Lights show off the debut. So they're no stranger to this more epic track. So when I see this is over 7 minutes, I get excited. And this track, I fucking love. I mean, it starts with that vocal harmony, just singing the title of the song, Ordinary Man. And my fucking hair on my arms goes up right there.
Yeah, see,
you
man,
don't like it? Oh, I love this song,
I mean,
man.
here, I get you got the church-like vocal harmonies that lead in. It's kind of a la Queen, a la this, out of whatever's going on. Adventurous political statement that has a huge chorus and tempo changes and modulation. It's got all kinds of things. Very Rush-like. This song was the Rush nod on this record. If they wanted to stay away from it, they went right there with this track.
Right.
It's probably the least fave on the record for me.
Oh!
But I appreciate the creativity. But it doesn't work for me, Randy. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm not an ordinary man.
Well, look at the time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Yes.
Oh man, at the 240 mark, when it hits that fucking gallop,
Hello, Rush.
or Iron Maiden,
12.
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I'm comparing it to Rush only at this point.
Oh, I compare it. Yeah, who cares? It fucking rocks for me. Oh, dude, you're killing me. And then they bring it back down, and yeah, okay, I'm not going to go. I love this song, man.
Yeah, I mean, check it out. I mean, to each his own, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. This was not one for me, man.
Oh, well, I like that we're disagreeing on something. Christ.
Totally.
Can't be kumbaya though. All 7 tracks.
No.
Okay, man. Number 8, Petite Etude. Now, what this is, Rick's known for this. So, on Just a Game, he had Fantasy Serenade. On Progressions of Power, he did Finger Talkin', which is more of a chicken picking thing. He does these little instrumentals on almost all their albums, like a minor prelude on Never Surrender. Same thing. You mentioned it already, Thunder 7. It's got that acoustic one, Midsummer's Daydream, but it's got that electric blues thing, Little Boy Blues, which is phenomenal. So he likes to stick a little instrumental on all the albums, and that's what this is. It's really cool, flamenco kind of style running through it. You're the guitar player. You can fucking correct me if I'm wrong, but it's super tasty as per fucking usual. And yeah, it's enjoyable, a little diversion from the usual rock thing. And my final point on it is, thanks to Rick Emmett, when I'm a young man, he's introducing me to a little bit of world music almost, a little flamenco. I never heard that before. Never heard flamenco and all this kind of shit. I'm like, what is that? I don't know what it is, but I fucking like it. And that's cool too, because he exposed my young mind to some different feels, shall we say.
Totally. Well, this is Rick Emmett making me happy, is what this track is, right? And he's such a gifted player. Like, you know, it's a tough thing, you know, with Lifeson and him, both very incredibly gifted guitar players. But I think Rick just covers a lot more ground, you know, more styles, you know, and really is, like you said, known for that when he puts these on his record, which is important because they make room on these records. It just really, really has a nice place for me, you know, on this record, and it's killer.
Okay, last but not least, track number 9, Say Goodbye. This is a pretty straightforward rocker. Rick singing again to close out the album. It's a good track. Not really a standout for me. Lyrics are a bit cheesy. If I had to throw out one track, it would be this one. That's where I'm at with this. I mean, it's okay, but if there's a throwaway, it's this track for me.
But, you know, this is Rick and Gil really sounding great together, this song. Like, they got the nice melodies in there. This is a sign of things to come with the poppier kind of somebody out there somewhere kind of thing. Right?
That's a good point, actually. That's a good point, Beau. Yeah.
It's going that way, you know, and this is where it's starting, which is not bad because they know it's going to get a lot of radio play, and I don't think this did any, but it had potential to do it because it had a nice melody. It did, and it made you feel good.
Okay, man. Well, anything else you want to add about Allied Forces before we wrap things up here?
Go and listen to it. This is their quintessential, essential record, and always worth having a listen and loud because it's great music to play loud. It really is.
And if I had one thing just to hammer home is just the variety on the album, whether it's the vocal, the songwriting. This is not a homogenous fucking 39 minutes. There's all sorts of shit on here. So some you like and some you don't like. Great. At least it's not fucking boring. And like you said, listen to it and let us know what you think in the comments, guys. Like, fucking have at her. You liked it, you didn't like it. Another thing, a couple things I want to mention. They released a 40th anniversary box set. So it's got a picture disc and a live from Cleveland in 81 album and a retro tour book and a poster and a pass and handwritten lyrics, and it's full on. So if you're hardcore, I don't have it yet. I might cave. And we'll also keep you guys posted on the release date for that documentary by Banger Films, Triumph Rock and Roll Machine, because I can't fucking wait, because they deserve this. They deserve a documentary.
These guys were pioneers, in a time when they were putting it out there. Like, it wasn't like they just showed up and were kind of able to make good. It was like they were, fucking playing the US Festival between the Scorpions and who?
And Priest, yeah.
Right. There it is.
And yes, we both think Allied's the peak, but like I said, popularity-wise, it's not. They became huge, bigger after that. Like, they were a huge fucking arena band selling out hockey rinks left, right, and fucking center. People forget that. They were big.
Yeah.
Big band.
But based on the pop stuff.
Sure, but they still rock out live though, right?
Sure, of course they will.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to get that. Okay, man, we're going to let Triumph close this out. So if you dig the show, tell a friend, subscribe, follow us on social media, and until next time, keep rock alive. See ya.